Hey everyone, this is Bathymetrics, and today we're going to be talking about how to do comp style recording in Bitwig. Yes, you can do comping in Bitwig. It's not the same as other DAWs that have a comping feature, but you can pretty much mimic the workflow. And it's very simple and it's very powerful, and a lot of people don't know about it because they're always asking this question on the forums. Always get new users asking, is there any way I can do this? So it's really easy, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so we have a simple project here. I have a basic drum beat like this. And it's a very swung feel, which is notoriously difficult to play against, right? Especially if you don't use a keyboard, but you use a push-to or some kind of pad-based controller like I do. So typically, if I want to record some sort of MIDI riff against this, I have to do quite a few takes before I get a take I like. And that's the exact use case for comping. So I have a patch, just a little plucky patch in phase plant. And I want to do a few different takes of this against the drum beat and get something that sounds good. Now, it could be the same thing if you're singing, if you're trying to record vocals. In this case, I'm going to start by recording my MIDI output, and then I'm going to bounce my MIDI to audio and show you how to do audio style comp editing. So we'll get to that. But first, to show you the basic trick, you don't want to work in the the arranger view for this. Don't do it in a timeline view. This is the power of Bitwig, and for that matter, the power of Ableton. The clip launcher is incredibly powerful, and this is where you should do recording like this. So I have phase plant. It's armed for recording. I don't have anything armed up here. I don't need to. When I'm in clip launcher mode, recording's a little different. All you need to do is have the track armed, and then all of these clip slots have a little recording shape on them, right? You need to come over here to your play menu, and you need to set the behavior for the post-recording action delay. By default, it's off. The magic option is this thing called record into next free slot. So you pick this, and then you say, well, how long do I want each recorded clip to be? How long is my riff? So I think this is a 1-bar riff. I'm not sure, but if you're going to do a 2-bar riff or a 4-bar riff, you can, of course, make this bigger, but I think I just want 1-bar clips. So let's see how that works. And if I need to change it, I will. So then start playing whatever it is you want to record against, whatever your scratch track is. In this case, I'm going to record directly against the drums. And I'm going to practice my riff for just a second and see if I really think it is 1 bar. Okay, it's a 1-bar riff. So what you do is you just start playing, and then as soon as something's playing, you hit record on your first clip slot. And what it's going to do is every bar, it's going to record and fill up a clip slot, and then it's going to instantly jump to the next clip slot and start recording there. And then it's going to start recording here, and so on and so forth. And it'll go all the way out to as many scenes as you currently have defined. So I don't know, let's make a few more scenes here. Let's just do the plus sign a few times. Let's give myself like 10 or 11 or 12 scenes there. And let's give this a try. So we're going to start playing. And it just occurred to me that you can't see this, so let's expand the track height. There's the MIDI. Let's do that one more time just so you can see it. Plus, I'm still getting warmed up for my actual riff recording. So here's the drum MIDI, right? Nothing fancy. Come back here and try it again. Oh, that's an empty clip. Empty clip. Okay, and that's enough. So I press the space bar to stop recording. So you can see my first two clips were just empty runway because I was missing my timing to start the riff. Let's see what this one sounds like. Okay, you can tell the timing was off for that one, so I don't know. Let's just delete it outright. We don't need it. Let's see how this one sounds. Timing's a little off on that one too. That's pretty good. Give this a color. A little bit late on that one. A little early on that one. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, a little late on the start of that one. Okay, that one's pretty good too. All right, so you get the idea. It's automatically jumping bars for me. It's automatically making discrete clips. I can audition them. I can get rid of the obviously bad ones. Let's just keep all these other ones just for grins to show you the next part. But this one or this one are probably the best takes that go with the swing feel of that clip. And again, it's notoriously hard to quantize against a swing groove. So this particular drum beat really relies on human feel and human timing. And so that's why I'm not even going to try and quantize these. I just want to pick the one that seems like the best fit. Okay, so this could have been an audio recording session from vocal takes, right? But I wanted to do MIDI first. And now if I want to bounce these down to audio, that's easy enough. Let me scooch all these over, multi-select, drag them over, just get them all together. And let's, just for grins, actually, let's put the two good ones next to each other. Okay, so to bounce these to audio, all I need to do basically is, I think, multi-select and Control B. We're going to bounce pre-fader at 32-bit. Always, always, always bounce at 32-bit floating point. Don't dither. So it just does a bounce for each track. And a couple things to know about the way Bitwig bounces things in the clip launcher. It sets these loops up by default, these bounced audio loops. This was a 1-bar loop. See how it starts at 1, ends at 2, and the loop is exactly 1 bar? The bounces are twice as long. You can see that it starts at 1 and stops at 3, which means it's 2 bars. Now the loop is still only a 1-bar loop, but it's starting at bar 2 right here. Why is that? Let's take a close look at this bounce. Actually, let's look at the good bounce, this one. So you can see this is the loop marker here, this little horizontal bar. Here's the start of the entire clip. Here's the end of the clip right here. But this is the part that's looping. It's looping the second bar. Why is it looping the second bar, and why did it record this first bar? So if you have Machine and you've done recording with Machine, you know Machine does exactly the same thing. And the reason is because a lot of stuff you play might have reverb tails or decay tails or something like that happening at the very end of the clip right here. So if you've got a reverb tail and it loops around to the beginning again, you want that reverb tail to keep ringing out. You don't want the clip or Bitwig to chop off the reverb or decay or any kind of interesting tail that's going on at the very end of the clip. You want it to keep playing the tail as it's recording the start of the next phrase. So that's exactly what's going on right here. This is where I started recording. This is the original initial recording, but if there was a tail ringing out right at this point, it's bleeding through and it's fading into or cross-fading into, or just, it was being still rendered at the time that the clip started recording my riff again, right? So by default, Bitwig will choose the looping structure that gives you the best crossover between the end and the beginning. So if there's a tail happening here, like you can see right here, if I zoom in a lot, let's get the right kind of, you can see at the very end of the clip, we're not quite at 0, right? There's still a little bit of something there. And if I had been holding down a note, all of this would have been tail. And we would certainly want that feeding back into the first part of the thing here, right? So this is why it looks like this. Now, how do you work with these loops if you're going to copy them over to the arranger view? In this case, if I go and drag any one of these over into a new track, you can see it's a 2-bar. And which one of these halves do I want? Do I want the first half or the second half, right? Probably what you're going to want is the first half, because that's the one that had the dry start, doing, doing, right? Do, 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 do. And you're not so worried necessarily about any bleed through. You could just take the whole thing and shorten it up like this and then do a little bit of, fade out or something. You could do something like that, but that's still going to bleed into whatever's coming next. Loop-based recording can get a little funky like this sometimes with your decisions about whether to just cut something short and just, chop it off, boom, right there, even though there might have been a little tail going on, because chances are there's a lot of things that are going to start happening in this bar that will overshadow or hide the fact that there might have been a little tail ringing out here. So, you're going to have to play this by ear. Now, if this was originally recorded to audio, then of course you wouldn't have this tail thing and these would only be 1 bar long. I'm not going to record myself singing because it's hilarious. But if I had done an original audio recording of me singing, these would have been just 1 bar loops instead of 2 bar loops with this behavior that I just described. So either way, the basic idea is once you have either your MIDI clips or your loops and you've decided how you want them to be, what you can do is open up the arranger view. And I've already dragged this first one in and then dragged it back to the beginning. Let's do the rest of these in one go. So I'm going to bring this one over, bring this one over, and I'm just dragging them onto a new track. Scroll over a little bit. This one, this one. And you can rename them first and do all that kind of stuff, but we'll just leave it like this. So then I want to shorten all these so I can multi-select these and just drag the header of one of them in, right? So now I have my 6 takes. 6 takes. And let's see. It was takes number 2 and 3 that were kind of good. So let's just color those to show that they were a little bit perhaps better. All right. Now, you can close the clip launcher now. Don't need it anymore. Remember to click this button to make your, to stop making the clip launcher active and instead make the timeline play all of these. So if I solo this one, for example, right? And if I want to get the drum loop over here, let's get the drum loop over here too, just so we can hear it. Okay. So now we have something that looks like this. And it would sound kind of like this. Right? And if we want those to loop, of course, we can just select any one clip and do Control L or manually drag that in, make sure the loop marker's on. Okay, so now let's say you did a bunch of vocal takes and now you want to do some comp editing, right? You've got them in a comping structure like this, but how do you do the comp editing? How do you chop out and mute different little bits and pieces to make one consistent whole, right? The way you do that is you select all the tracks and group them. So now they're in a group. And if I play this group, all 6 of these tracks are going to play by default. But now we're just going to do some editing. So I'm going to double click the first one in the group, get into the editing view. Let's make this editing view a little bigger for now. Go down here to the track version so you're seeing the actual clip. And when you go into the track version, you see this little layered editing button right here. Easy to miss if you're new to Bitwig. Click that. And now I can see a listing of all my tracks that are audio tracks because I'm in an audio editor mode. I'm looking at audio events. And all you have to do is click these thumbnails or these thumbtacks to bring them all up right on top of each other. Boom. Now, let's say, for example, that I wanted to, this will sound terrible, but I'm going to take these 4 bars and just do a split. And then I'm going to use my shortcut key for deactivate to mute this one clip here, right? So now the only part of this clip that plays is going to be this bar. I'm going to take this and split it. Take these 2 and mute. I'm going to take this section and split it. Take these 2 and mute. Then I'm going to take this section here and split it. Mute. And then I'm going to take this section and split it. Mute. Right? Just like this is what you do if you were doing vocal comp editing, is you would have to do this sort of tedious, figure out what parts you want to keep and what you don't. All right, so now I have this clip that basically is comprised of this section followed by this section, then this, then this, then this, then this, right? Typical editing. I haven't destroyed anything. I didn't need to remove all the other stuff. I just muted it, right? With your activate, deactivate shortcut key. I think it's Alt E by default, but I remapped mine to 0 because I come from Ableton, where 0 basically mutes and deactivates things. So now you have this hybrid clip. It's a comp to edit. And if I were to go back and play the track along with the drums, let's just unsolo this, and let's just mute. And it doesn't, these are all inside a group. So if we play this now, okay. So this timing's really terrible, right? You can see how late it is. So let's go find the same section from one of my other takes that was better. Actually, I thought this one was the best one. And let's split this again. And this time, let's mute all of this track, right? And then let's unmute this one, okay? So now we're gonna try that one. Okay, so this is better now, but this one's still a little late feeling. So let's deactivate this, and let's go find like this one. Split it again. Let's unmute it. Right, so you can tell by the dark versus gray which is muted and isn't. Okay, so let's assume that's the comp to edit, vocal edit that I want, right? That I feel like that's the best timing. So I can come back over here and we can bounce the entire group out. We can render the group out to a new audio track. So I'm just literally going to click the meta clip here, just the meta clip for the group. See how it's selected now? It's got a little border around it. Might be more, well, we'll just leave it like that. I've got the group, and now if I do Control B to bounce, and I say bounce pre-fader, here's my grouped bounce right here. And I'll call this good take, right? Then I can take these and basically collapse them, select the group, and just deactivate the entire group. It's gone. Why is it gone? Because when you deactivate things, there's a preferences setting that will automatically hide things that you are deactivated. Where is it? It's here somewhere. I thought it was here. It's been a while. All this is set up and I've forgotten all about it. Okay, well, maybe it's just by default it's deactivated. Either way, it's this little X button that shows things that you've deactivated or not. Like if it's active, it'll show you the deactivated things. If it's off, then they're just nicely hidden away from your view. And remember, in Bitwig, anything that's deactivated takes no system resources, no memory, no CPU, doesn't incur latency. All the plugins, it's as if they're just gone, right? So deactivating things and just letting them be tucked away hidden is a good way to just keep your project uncluttered as you keep bouncing and flattening and bouncing and flattening. So if I ever need to go back and redo this edit, I can always come back to the original group and come back into this mode and, you know, redo my entire edit and then rebounce the group again. But let's just assume this one's good and let's see how it sounds. So again, that track's deactivated. We don't need to see it. Right? And if we look at this track and see what it looks like, of course, we have to turn off all our layer editing stuff. Just click that button, and now we're back to one specific bounce. Let's see, group master bounce. I've still got some things pinned. Let's unpin these. Doink, 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 doink. Get rid of this. There we go, group master bounce, and you can see that it's one clip. It's only 1 bar long, and if I were to make the track clip slightly longer and see if there's any underlying audio event that actually lasts longer, you can see it doesn't. So a single 1 bar render of my final edited take, and that's how you do comp-based recording and editing in Bitwig. See you next time.